when it comes to parody bands, none have captured the absurdity of rock and roll quite like Spinal Tap. Immortalized in the 1984 mockumentary This Is Spinal Tap, the fictional group became so convincing, fans often forgot it wasn't a real band. With their over-the-top stage antics, questionable lyrics, and infamous turn it up to 11 amplifiers, Spinal Tap skewered every rock cliché imaginable. But how did this iconic band end up with such a strange name? The answer lies in the blending of humor, irony, and medical jargon. The creators of Spinal Tap, Christopher Guest, Michael McKean, and Harry Shearer, wanted a name that was memorable, a bit ridiculous, and hinted at something darkly serious while still being tongue-in-cheek. They landed on Spinal Tap, a term referring to a medical procedure where a needle is inserted into the spinal canal to collect fluid for testing. The procedure itself is painful and clinical, hardly the glamorous stuff of rock dreams. Yet that was the joke. In choosing a name with such an un-rock and roll origin, the creators were parodying how many real bands picked names that were equally odd, pretentious, or nonsensical. The name also played into the heavy metal aesthetic of the late 1970s and early 1980s, where bands often chose names that sounded tough, dangerous, or mysterious. While groups like Iron Maiden, Black Sabbath, and Judas Priest evoked dark imagery, Spinal Tap leaned into absurdity. The medical term sounded menacing in its own way, even though it was lifted from a doctor's office rather than a Gothic cathedral. It was the perfect example of Spinal Tap's humor, taking something mundane or uncomfortable and turning it into faux rock mythology. In This Is Spinal Tap, the band's name becomes part of the satire. The film portrays Spinal Tap as a group that takes itself far too seriously despite its increasingly ridiculous circumstances. Their moniker, clinical and unglamorous, underscores the disconnect between their self-image as rock gods and the reality of their declining popularity. Just like the ill-fated Stonehenge stage prop or their disastrous US tour, the name Spinal Tap highlights the comedy of a band forever trying and failing to achieve rock greatness. Interestingly, the name has since transcended parody to become iconic in its own right. Spinal Tap performed live shows, released albums, and even reunited for tours, blurring the line between fiction and reality. Fans embraced the band as if it were real, and the name itself became shorthand for any rock project that tried too hard or collapsed under its own pretension. Today, Spinal Tap moments are used to describe real-life situations in the music industry that mirror the film's absurdities. Ultimately, the brilliance of the name Spinal Tap lies in its simplicity. It is funny, odd, and unforgettable, embodying everything the band represents. By pulling inspiration from something as unglamorous as a medical procedure, the creators crafted a name that perfectly captured the band's satirical spirit. It sounds just serious enough to pass as a real rock band, yet ridiculous enough to make you laugh once you think about it. Spinal Tap may have started as a parody, but the name has become a permanent part of rock culture. It proves that sometimes the most enduring legacies come from poking fun at the very thing you love. And in the case of Spinal Tap, their name is as legendary as their amps that go one louder.